Public relations is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. Some typical functions of PR managers are creating press releases, gathering data upon request by the media, recognizing target audiences and determine ways to access them, preparing answers to questions posed by the media, assisting clients to appropriately correspond with the general public, successfully uphold a client's public image through logos and signs, assisting corporate executives by crafting speeches and coordinating interviews, researching and assessing advertising and promotion aspects of a client company to investigate its consistency with public relation initiatives, contributing to fundraising efforts by determining and contacting potential financial backers and/or applying for grants, and organizing events to help foster good relations between clients and the media. According to Forbes magazine, PR is known as the persuasion business. You are trying to convince an audience inside your building or town and outside your usual sphere of influence to promote your idea, purchase your product, support your position, or recognize your accomplishments. PR can be used to protect, enhance, or build reputations through the media, social media, or self-produced communications. A good PR practitioner will analyze the organization, find the positive messages, and translate those messages into positive stories. When the news is bad, they can formulate the best response and mitigate the damage.
More than quite often, misconceptions are used to define public relations. As a matter of fact, public relations consist of many internal and external audiences, which all happens to be placed under an umbrella. Under this umbrella lies event planning. For a majority of the time, people began to believe event planning wasn't something that had to do with public relations. But in reality, that's where they were wrong. Event planners actually help individuals, such as organizations and businesses. They help them by hosting events and taking responsibility for all the activities that are associated with the events. Now, these responsibilities may vary depending on who you're working for or what they hope to gain out of your service. But to be more precise, the general duties are to market for the events that you will be putting on for the business. Most of the time, you'll approach the company with a business plan, and this plan usually defines the service more into depth by explaining the price structure, identifying the target audience you plan to focus on in order to make the event successful. Now, the company may not know what they want or what they plan to get out of it, so it's your job to communicate that between them. And after communicating, the event planner will take that information and communicate it with the potential customers and build relationships with business partners who can add value to the company. Now, tying this back to class, we learned that event planners actually use valuable skills that a journalist or someone working in the advertising department would use. A successful worker in the public relations field has the ability to write, speak, organize, and administrate as well as manage crisis. These are all skills that are needed in the planning field as well. A planning professional is essentially a specialized public relations practitioner. Not only are they proficient in managing the public, but they are proficient in finding solutions to the current problems they face while planning an event.
Public relations is similar to event planning, as event planning is usually considered one aspect of public relations. For example, most public relations firms have an in-house event planner or event planners to handle that facet of the public relations field. Many firms advertise event planning as one service they offer. The two fields overlap when public relations effectively generates revenue, sponsors and advertisers, awareness, and a buzz in the media that encourages media coverage of a particular event. Public relations is different from event planning in that event planning is still usually only one facet of a firm and only one facet of the concept of public relations. Event planning is crucial to public relations, but there are other services that public relations agencies provide. Some of these other services include publicity, copywriting, and social media management, as well as many others. Event planning focuses solely on coordinating events that will provide the client or company with brand awareness and media buzz. Although an event planner must be well versed in public relations and communication, not all public relations professionals must be event planners.
Being an event planner is an extremely tedious job. Usually doing most of their planning in offices, event planners typically work longer hours than that of a 9-to-5 job leading up to events, even working on weekends. They can work a wide variety of events such as conferences, seminars, conventions, corporate retreats, and many more. While they plan an entire event and oversee it to ensure it runs smoothly, the occupation of an event planner involves much more than just planning a party. They must first meet with the client to understand the purpose of the event. Some events are easier than others when portraying a message, such as a wedding. Meetings or conventions that have a more difficult message or purpose to convey is where the event planner comes in. They must be able to communicate to the public on behalf of the client and properly portray their message. Event planners work day and night to arrange who will be attending the event, when and where the event will take place, and how to make the event run as smooth as possible from beginning to end. Additionally, event planners must arrange to have caterers and transportation on site as needed. Although most work is done in their office, event planners must travel regularly to scout potential sites for the event. On the day of the occasion, event planners must work behind the scenes and assist with any problems that occur. Being an event planner requires a number of skills. A few of those skills needed are creativity, time management, organization, and excellent communication. One skill that is essential but not often recognized is budgeting. Event planners must be able to stay within budget and negotiate contracts with vendors and review the bills once the event is over to approve those payments.
There are many functions of event planning that relate to course material we have learned this semester. I will point out and highlight some related examples and materials we have learned about that are important in the career path of event planning. Most of the content we have gone over in class has to do with things like marketing or advertising, which is something that could be done for event planning businesses or professionals, but isn't the purpose of the position itself. However, like those positions, there are similar things like ethical considerations. In event planning, you want to value what your client values, as well as make them feel comfortable with their morals and personal philosophies. You want to make sure that everything you're doing and saying to them, as well as any other parties involved, is legal and considerate of their ideals and beliefs. It is therefore critical that event planners know and practice the etiquette that it takes to be successful with event planning suppliers as well as their clients. Because ethics was such an important conversation that was covered in class, I have researched with what ethical issues are most commonly come up in event planning careers. One is being honest with how much you are charging your clients. You don't want to up your prices when you feel you're going the extra mile for them, because if you're treating them with respect and doing your job well, chances are they'll pay you accordingly anyways. You're building your reputation when you start charging people either positively or negatively for your services. Like the exercise we did in class that had to do with a junior employee leaking top secret information, event planners need to take into consideration what their employees as well as the guests at their events are posting on social media accounts. This is important that no one breaches the company's policies or defames the competition publicly. All guests should be briefed on what is considered appropriate and respectful behavior before events, because anything that they post is ultimately the event planner's responsibility.